When we last talked about this series and the potential of what could actually happen, I don't think anybody on planet Earth could have predicted what actually ended up happening. The crazy series of the 2024 playoffs continues with another blowout, even more disrespectful than the ones that we saw in games 2 and 3. As a reminder, game 1, the Timberwolves win by 7 points. They win game 2 by 26. The Nuggets win game 3 by 27. They win game 4 by 8. They win game 5 by 15 in disrespectful fashion, and the Timberwolves win game 6 by 45 points. What? I've been talking all series about how I'm just excited and anticipating all the adjustments that are going to happen because these are two really good teams coached by two really good coaches. Well, 3 at this point, but we've seen the Nuggets move more towards having the bigs dribble the ball up the court as to alleviate a lot of the defensive pressure from their guards, mainly Jamal Murray, that he was facing, especially in game 2 against the defense of both Jaden McDaniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and just the difficulty he was having just getting the ball up the floor. We've seen that. We've seen them running more actions away from the middle of the floor as to prevent the Minnesota defense from collapsing as easily. And now in this game, it seemed like the main thing that the Minnesota Timberwolves were focusing on was defending without fouling, because that's been a pretty big issue for them, especially in the 3 games that Denver won. They had guys like Jaden McDaniels, Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker at times just in foul trouble, mainly in the first half. And from there, they were just basically playing an uphill battle. Today, they seemed to make an emphasis on that. They were really good defensively. Also, it is worth noting that they went back to having Anthony Edwards on Jamal Murray, especially to start the game, which they've been doing that a lot in the series, to be fair. And then as the game goes on, they kind of switched to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels, defenders like that. Anthony Edwards really got a lot of possessions guarding Jamal Murray, especially in the first half again. But also one of the main noticeable adjustments that they were focusing on was actually doubling Nikola Jokic, which is interesting because you would think that that strategy would be kind of counterintuitive just because of the vision that Nikola Jokic has. I mean, he will know where the double is coming from. He'll be able to make a read. But the way that the Timberwolves were doing it was they were doubling him really aggressively. And you'll see that especially on this play here with Rudy Gobert and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It literally, like, they're doing everything possible without actually fouling him. Like, there's no foul here. He is able to actually make that cross-court pass, but Justin Holiday just misses an open shot. And that was really a theme throughout the game, was Denver missing open shots as well as just the Timberwolves defense being absolutely locked in. And you could see it right away, especially in the first quarter. It was a pretty, I wouldn't say drastic difference from what we've seen from them in the last 3 games, but it was definitely noticeable where, yes, this is what the defense looked like in games 1 and 2. And after the Nuggets were able to put together a little run to start the game, which is something that has been happening pretty much in every game throughout the series, where Denver gets stops on one end, they get out in transition on the other and put a run together. After that, they just could not score in the half court. And again, credit to the Timberwolves defense, but a lot of the shots that Denver was missing, they were just missing shots. There were so many open shots. I don't have the data in front of me right now as I'm recording this. I'm sure it'll be up once this video is actually uploaded. But the amount of open shots the Nuggets missed in game 6 is absolutely insane. But again, also credit to the Timberwolves defense because they did literally everything right. They played about as perfect as you could, but that's only one side of the ball. And the other side, of course, was Minnesota's offense, which was the real story in this game for a change. The return of Mike Conley was really apparent. They were getting a lot more good looks than they got in game 5 when Mike Conley wasn't there. And Ant looked like Ant again after basically just having his typical rollback of just being Michael Jordan and having Mike Conley running a lot of pick and roll, especially with Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, putting Jokic in pick and roll again, and having just someone that can shoot threes off of pick and rolls has been really beneficial to them the entire series. And that's one of the main things that they missed in game 5 was that specific aspect of Mike Conley's game, because that unlocks a lot for them, because defenders need to show at the level basically on Mike Conley. Rudy Gobert is a good roller, and so now you have to worry about him. Cat, also a good roller, but he's also a decent passer, so you have to pay attention to what read could he make out of that role. And it's just a completely different offensive dynamic that they have with just having Mike Conley back out there. And that's something that a lot of fans maybe won't understand, or at least a lot of the casual fans maybe won't understand, because he's not a star caliber player at this point in his career. But what he does and what he did for the Minnesota offense in game 6 needs to be mentioned, because it was night and day, the types of looks that they were getting. Another thing, offensive rebounds were absolutely key in this game, especially in the first half. The Timberwolves out-rebounded the Nuggets 36-21 in the first half, 11 offensive rebounds to 4, and I mean, that's basically the game, because after the Nuggets started out on that 9-2 run to start the game, the Timberwolves responded with a 20-0 run in the first quarter, a 13-0 run in the second quarter, and a 24-0 run in the fourth quarter. This game was just so crazy. And I talked about Mike Conley before and his contributions to specifically the offense in this game. Anthony Edwards also made some key adjustments, also him just not being the focal point of the defense, especially in pick and rolls anymore, was really beneficial to him in this game. In game 5, without Mike Conley there, Ant was getting doubled a lot on ball, and that was something that he seemed to really be struggling with. This game, he made it a point, it seemed like, to start attacking before the double got there. I'm thinking specifically about this play in, I believe, the first quarter, where he's out right wing and Nikola Jokic is coming to double, but he ends up just attacking before Nikola actually gets to him. And so defense is a little bit out of position. Jamal Murray is not in a position to stop this drive, and he finishes this, but there are passes that he can also make out of this. He's a capable passer. Like, he has options here. He's just literally that good that he was able to finish this over 2 Nuggets basically. Another big, I'd say, key in this game, and probably the MVP of the game in general, bro, Jaden McDaniels had another incredible offensive game. He hasn't really had one at all this series. The last one I can think of was when they played against the Phoenix Suns last round, and he had, I believe it was 25 points. This time, it was a lot of actually creating for himself off the dribble. There were very few assisted shots from him. There were some times where someone would get downhill and the defense would collapse and he would end up with a catch and shoot opportunity. But most of the time, it was actually just self-creation. There was a play, or actually a few plays in the first half that I can think of. He catches the ball in the corner guarded by Nikola Jokic, and Jokic is playing him for the drive, and Jaden just steps back and shoots the corner 3 over him, hits it. There was a play a little bit later in the same quarter where he got an offensive rebound and just attacked Jokic going downhill, because he's seen that Jokic, against any offensive player going downhill, he's not really gonna be contesting that anyways. There was a play where he was out top against Michael Porter Jr. and he attacked him going downhill. There was a play in the second half where he attacked Jamal Murray off of a closeout, was able to get to the rim. Like, it was a lot of just self-creation, and I feel like that's one of those keys that is going to be important for this team going into game 7. And speaking of game 7, we got some stuff to talk about here, because I'm not entirely sure what adjustments are left. We're 6 games into the series, and we've seen just about everything that we can imagine, which that's about right. Usually throughout the course of a 7-game series, you're exhausting all of your changes, all of your adjustments, because you're obviously trying to win the series to advance or to win the championship. And so it's going to be interesting to see what game 7 actually has in store. It might just be one of those game 7s that comes down to who has the performance. And when I say the performance, you know what performance I'm talking about. The Grant Williams 25-point game 7 or a Draymond Green 32-point game 7. And it's mainly because the Timberwolves have already made up their minds, especially after game 5, that, bro, we are not just gonna let Nikola Jokic ISO his way to 40 points and beat us like that. We're not going out like that. If he is doing that to the defensive player of the year, playing contrary to popular belief that I'm somehow seeing, basically perfect defense every single play.
Alexander pull-up jumper.
What? Oh my God! They're doing it.
Hey!
They have Jokic looking like Prime Magic. Fine.
He's going out. He gets late for me.
Oh my god. He's just trying. He's trying passes.
Nikhil, no.
Oh my god. No, this is so crazy. All like 4 of those assists back to back to back. Oh my. There's no
What do I say? What do I say?
Defense. The screen nav.
Oh, what?
What do I got?
But why
Bro,
are you
oh my
playing
god.
Every possession.
He makes that pass. Go Bear. Go Bear. Go Bear.
Oh my god.
And
Rudy.
one.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
I am eating French toast.
What in the f am I looking at?
I was getting ready to clown him. He said,
What the f is he? Stop. Guys.
Oh my god.
No.
no, we're not doing that. We're not going out like that. It literally might just come down to that. There could be a situation in which Aaron Gordon hits 5 threes and goes for 25 points. Or, likewise, could be a situation in which Naz Reid finally wakes up again. Jaden McDaniels goes off. It's going to be pretty interesting to see what is actually going to happen because we've seen a lot of adjustments from both teams already. I imagine that to start the game, Jokic is going to make it an emphasis to be more aggressive, even if they start doubling him. I imagine that Michael Malone is going to figure out some sort of counter action to the Jokic double teams and maybe where they're coming from. And so you should be on the lookout for that. There is also the possibility that they go back to putting an emphasis on trying to get defenders into foul trouble like they were in some of the previous games. Although game 7, I feel like it's going to be one of those situations where the whistle is going to be a little bit lax because officials do not want to decide that game. Well, certain officials don't want to decide the game. Like, admittedly, I have no idea what the adjustments for this game are going to be other than what I just said. It may just turn out to be, oh, Denver ends up hitting more shots this time because, as I said before, they did get a lot of open looks even with the Timberwolves defense swarming again. And so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But game 7 and really just any other game in the playoffs, we will be watching on Gold-Blooded. Me, Gifted KB, we do watch parties over there. You can connect your NBA League Pass account and see the game or any other streaming service provider that it may ask you for that you might have, and that'll make it so that you can actually follow along with us and see the game as we see it in real time, so you don't have to really try to match up your stream or whatever with our stream. And so we'll be on there a lot. We have some stuff planned for the off season, which will be exciting, especially if you are here for Golden State. So we have that going on. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell to be notified when I upload. Comment down below what you want to see next. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.